does it mean to level up? What does it mean to have leveled up? I read posts and stuff like that, and I wanted to kind of take a deep dive into what that means and what it might feel like after the fact. Because oftentimes, when you get ready for something like a big event or a big sporting thing or whatever, maybe like a graduation or something, and then as it's over, you start to feel a little less. Things aren't quite as exciting as they were right before. And that's leveling up. So join me and Aaron as we get into it a little bit and see what you think.
Welcome to the Warrior Mindset Podcast. We're your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that choose to walk that.
Have you leveled up any?
Yeah.
That was terrible.
I actually I have leveled up.
Yeah.
I turned 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're old AF.
I am, and you're almost there.
4 months behind you. But
Exactly.
what does turning 50 mean to you?
Wow. If you knew that what was going through my head about all the cool things that I've done since I turned 50,
Ooh.
yeah, then I really can't talk about.
Why not? Well, I don't want to know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I do feel I'm halfway to 100. First of all,
You feel you're halfay to 100.
yeah.
Well, you
yeah.
technically are.
Yes, yes, I am.
That is assuming you live to 100.
And when you assume, I hope we have not lost anybody in the past couple.
Oh, they're
months.
gone.
Yeah,
They're way
they
gone.
Quit. Yeah. I did not think that I would feel this good
Yeah.
physically, mentally, emotionally at 50, because I feel like, definitely in my 20s.
What did you think?
Well, okay, as a teenager, 50s, somebody who's dead or about to die.
I don't know that I've ever, honestly, I don't know that I've ever even thought about it. I guess I'm just not concerned with my own mortality.
That's fair.
Which is weird. You think I would be, but I'm just not in that sense of like worrying about what it's going to be like when I wake up and I'm like, I feel like I'm 30, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a factor. I suppose that's a good thing.
Right. Well, mentally, I'm a teenager.
Well, for sure you are.
Let's be very clear.
Grade school.
Oh, no, teenager, because I know enough to get in trouble.
Oh, true that.
But, physically, mentally, emotionally, like, I don't know. I feel good. Had a great time in Houston with old Army friends.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also remembered, what old people do, which is talk about illnesses and things like that. And that's what they do, dude.
That is what they do.
Yeah. And so there was a little bit of that, but what's actually come out of that is, the four of us that did this trip together. And I don't know if you knew that, or maybe you didn't, that it was a surprise to me. I had no idea where I was going. I had no idea who was going to be there at the end of it.
Mm.
I mean, like, if I showed you the pictures, it's like...
Well, I wasn't invited, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm so sorry. So, for my 50th birthday,
yeah,
my wife reached out to my Army friends and said, hey...
That's cool.
I'm thinking of some ideas for Aaron's birthday.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any ideas? And they said, yeah, let's do a boys trip.
Of course they did. Yeah.
And she was like,
not what I had in mind.
yeah, exactly. She's like, they were just so enthusiastic. I just couldn't say no. And
they helped you out.
And actually it had been, God, I think it had been like 15 years since we'd all gotten together.
Oh, that's cool.
Is that right? I mean, yeah. So it was it was
legit, man.
It was. And I did my best. I didn't look at my boarding pass for the next flight.
Oh, wow.
I got on in Columbia. I went to Atlanta. I didn't even know what seat I was in and everything. And
Wow.
when I got to Atlanta, I was like, okay, I'm going to gate E21 or A21. And then I walked to gate, and then it said Houston.
Oh.
And I got to Houston. A buddy of mine, was flying in from Minneapolis. He got me at the gate. We got past security. Another friend of mine from New York who was already there picked us up there, and then got in the car, and a friend from Austin was driving. And so anyway,
Cool.
we had a great time. I was definitely puking the second day.
Oh,
I haven't done that in so long. But we were playing golf, and I was like, oh my God, we did not eat last night.
it's probably a good thing then.
Yes, exactly. We were 3 blocks away from a beer garden. We became friends with the owner by the time we were done.
Well, hey,
yeah. But
you're definitely not going to make 100 now.
No, exactly. Just from that one weekend. But what came out of it, which was really nice, is one of my buddies had just turned 50. Our 2 other friends I think they're 46, and it was nice catching up. First of all, it was nice, like talking about families and things like that that happen every day. Then we started we are egging each other on like, hey, here's my workout regimen. Here's my supplement regimen. Here's my and so we're going back and forth, and there were things that one of my friends, he got in a bad car accident probably about 4 years ago, really bad. And so he's still dealing with a lot of pain, but he is even he's fuck you guys, I'm trying hard to get back into this, but he's trying, so there's this, I feel a little leveled up, as far as where I, physically, mentally, whatever, have been now versus, even 10, 15 years ago. And it's nice that we're sharing these things with each other, just like you and I share things with each other, on, how to get better at things.
Yeah.
And, and it's and sometimes we're sharing, just, I don't know how many times I've done the Shia, I can never say his damn name, Shia LaBeouf, whatever.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, him. Just do it,
just
do it.
I thought you were talking about just getting drunk and berating the cops.
Yeah.
I didn't know what kind of weekend you had.
Yeah, no. No, but I mean, I did run a 5K while I was there too.
Okay.
So,
Jesus.
yeah, I know that was probably dangerous. But I feel good because there has been, a resurgence, the things that, I always tell you that coming in here is therapy for me, and that, the things that we talk through, are helpful in order to, think about the things that I really want to do.
Right. For sure.
And so something like that, again, I haven't really had that type of time with any friends for a long time, in that aspect. And so I feel really fucking good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's invigorating.
Yeah.
Well, they all kind of trying to make themselves better.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's why you've kind of kept up with them.
And in different, no, it's, I mean, I think Army friends are you experience the worst things.
Oh,
together.
Sure. Yeah.
And sure. So there's a commiseration, but,
nothing like shared PTSD.
Yes. Or let's not even go that far. Just nothing shared. I had to run, down Ardennes every single day with these assholes. And then we'd fight each other, and then we'd party at night. So
you grew up together.
Yeah, exactly. And so, have we always been as supportive of each other? Maybe not the way that we should, but I think that what happened this week or that weekend is we realized how supportive we should be of each other. And that, it's one of us will, like on a weekly basis now, like, hey, I did that. Like,
Yeah.
I just ran my first
That's
half
cool.
marathon
Right.
2 weeks
Right.
ago.
You're sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so as I'm running, I'm sending them
Yeah.
video, flipping them off,
Right.
like, get out there and do something.
Yeah.
And I hope it's helpful for me. I hope it's helpful for them. And it's nice again having that. I
Yeah.
think especially this age, because like I work alone
Yeah.
every single day,
Yeah.
like and
Yeah.
just having that reminder, like you and I don't text to each other
No,
enough.
I'm not a big
or
texter anyway.
Yeah, I know. I do know that, but like I haven't been able to get here as often as I used
Right.
to. And I'm about to go out of town for a month and
Yeah.
everything too. So but I think even what was it no, it was 2 years ago. Like we did a podcast when I was in London.
Oh yeah,
So-
sure. We can still do that.
Yeah. So-
Yeah. It's. I bet. Yeah, that is awesome, man. That's really great. How many of them is it? 4?
Well, there's
4 total.
4 total,
So 3.
including me.
That's really cool. I mean, yeah, you get more lonely as you get older, I think.
Yeah.
At least I'm finding that like you begin to, I mean, in the spirit of leveling up, I guess, but you can be level up negatively, you can level up positively.
Sure.
But you can, as you sort of, I guess, whatever it is you're doing down your path, you're becoming a manager, you're taking on different roles, your kids get older, whatever it is, you get a little bit more lonely. And I think you sort of filter out who's going to be your friends a little bit more.
For sure.
Like you get a little more selective.
Yeah.
Perhaps you put up with a little less bullshit.
I think that's it.
Or maybe you get more sensitive to bullshit. I don't know what it is, but like
No, it's yeah.
Things that I look past in other people.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying I'm not guilty of, I mean, I'm sure people have put me by the wayside too, but like
Yeah.
things I looked past with certain people in the past, I wouldn't look past now,
Mhm.
if I just met them versus then.
Right.
That was a long-winded.
No.
Does it make sense though?
You were right. Like the friends that I had when I was in my mid-20s, I loved them.
Yeah.
Like when
And I still do. I'm
Yeah.
still friends with some of them.
Yeah, but I'm friends with a lot less of them now.
Yeah.
And for obviously for different reasons.
Yeah.
But more so that's just not who I am anymore. They don't have the same things that drive them
Right.
that drive me now, and that's okay.
Right. Just a different path.
Yeah. And yeah, like, am I more lonely now than I was, when I was in the army, when
Yeah.
I was doing my master's in Australia, when,
Right.
in college or high school? Sure. But I also I feel like I don't want to become stodgy. I don't want to become this
Right.
is the only, way, this is the only way.
Of course.
But there are things now that I'm just I'm more secure in who I am
Mhm.
and what I want to do
Mhm.
and how I want to be. And, I still want to be accepting of other people.
Are you more secure with, is the right word? I think about that a lot. Am I
Mhm.
more secure, or am I more confident, or am I just accepting where I'm at?
Mm.
I think it's a little bit of all of it, but I do think, I think about that a lot.
I don't accept where I am. I don't.
Explain.
I want more.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't be doing this shit. I wouldn't be working out harder. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
working harder. I wouldn't be really actively working on my relationship with my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
If I didn't want more. And,
More of what?
happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, and free.
Yeah. Here you go.
Back to the basics.
That's cool.
Yeah. And the more that I build that up for myself, the more that I can give it away to others.
Right.
Whether that's my immediate family, whether that's to my friends, or whether that's to, the random person that's walking down the street, and I just give a smile.
Yeah.
Because hey, what's up? Head nod. Because I feel that way now. It's not every day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
It's always a spectrum of
sure.
how you woke up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But and I'll actually say too, like something happened last night that really kind of pissed me off. And then I went and played Fallout 4,
You
shot a whole bunch of things.
playing the Fallout 4
Oh no, this is the
co-op?
original.
Oh, you're playing the
Dude, it's the best.
The-
It's still. Can I find the tiny little thing that's hidden in here? Why?
It's a fun game.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Did
you watch the TV show?
That's why I
Amazon
went
show?
back.
Yeah,
I've
okay.
been itching to play again.
Yeah.
And I started.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
And sidebar, I heard they actually extracted and 3D printed some of the stuff from the game in real life, and they've used that in the show. That's why
That's
it looks
pretty
so accurate to the game.
No, I
Which is
believe that.
crazy.
Yeah.
To like that. Wow, you can do that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
bake my noodle.
I mean, I think we talked a long time ago about like it's easy to level up in a video game.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to level up sometimes in physical world, and it's not so easy to level up in mentally. And I think that's kind of where we were getting to.
Yeah.
And then what happens when you do level up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it more lonely?
I think it is by definition.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about whatever you're talking about, if you sort of surpass where certain people are,
what about
you're not going to be interested in spending time with those people.
This is true.
I mean, from a selfish perspective, they don't have anything for you. You are then the mentor, so unless you're getting something out of that mentor experience, that they have nothing for you,
True.
It's a little cold, but
well, okay. If you're lonely, are you empty?
no, for sure not.
Why?
I think they're two different things. Huh?
Explain.
I think it's two different things. I think that, because I have lonely feelings too, like, when you're just sitting there working on stuff and you're like, wow, it's just me.
Yeah.
Like I've got to do all this stuff. It's just me. It's all down to me, or, other people are sort of coming to you with their problems. You feel a little lonely because you're not sharing that load.
Yeah.
But I'm not empty, because I still feel needed, and I still feel wanted, and I still feel like I'm contributing something. I think if I weren't working on myself, or weren't working on my skills or my craft or whatever, I would probably feel empty after a while.
Well, that's the
because you'd be like, well, I used up all the stuff I have.
Right. That's the settling that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That,
I think,
like when you say, if you're settling, that is something that I can't see, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people do that though.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's kind of settling.
We always talk about, we settled for the, you're living in a shotgun shack. Wait, no, that's Talking Heads. Talking Heads in my head for some reason.
A psycho killer, I think.
Yeah. You may
Careful.
find yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're continuing to build towards things, maybe not just something, but builds towards things, then I don't think that you're settling. I don't think that you're empty.
Right, for sure.
But talk about the article that we were looking at.
We're following it pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll share this in the show notes too, but it's clear signs you've leveled up, or in the process of leveling up. And that's kind of what we're going through. But just some like markers, we'll go through them kind of quick here, but like a couple of the first ones are like, you lose confidence for a period of time. Feels like your world might be falling apart. You question what you want. And we touched on the you feel lonely part. But I mean, those first three is, you don't level up without any sort of friction, right? Or any sort of challenge, or whatever that thing is. Like if you don't just like slide into the next level, you know what I mean? You have to overcome something, or be challenged by something, or figure something out, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Going through that can be painful. Physically could be, if you're, getting in shape, losing weight or whatever, but also, could lose people. You can, lose clients, you can gain new things, like whatever that thing is you're going through, but you can tend to lose confidence in yourself. And I think that's part of the leveling up part.
Okay. I don't know about whether I would say like if you get to a certain belt, because I feel like there's always the next thing. But if you win a tournament,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I am it's about it. I'm the grand champion of,
Mhm.
XYZ tournament.
Yeah.
Um you probably leveled up, especially if this is your first time. Um, take the first two things. What were the first two things?
Lose confidence and feels like your world is falling apart.
Do you have that?
Me?
No, I mean, like if you were to win XYZ tournament and you've accomplished this goal that you've been working on.
Oh yeah, no, you're on cloud 9.
Right. But
getting there.
But what's next? I think that this is saying like thinking about like, okay, I've achieved what I wanted to achieve. Like the goal was here.
And
I
I
got
did
to
it.
the goal.
Yep.
And I think it's now what the fuck do I do?
There's always that.
Yeah.
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 For sure. For
Right.
sure. Right. If you look at it in terms of past tense, like you have leveled up,
Mhm.
like, and now you're like, what's next?
Right.
I get you. I'm following.
Do I do something less than I've done before?
Right.
Do I do the exact same thing that
Do I
I've done
repeat?
before? Do I repeat? Or do I
Yeah.
do I have to do something more?
Yeah.
Like that's the scary thing. I
That
think,
is a scary thing.
right? Because I know those other two
Mhm.
things. I know how to do less. I know how to repeat potentially.
Yeah.
I know what it took to get here.
Right.
But
Yeah. Or it could be just like, I don't want to do all that shit again. Like that's a lot of work.
right. Right.
know?
This is the the child actor type thing too.
Yeah.
Like achieve all this success
Yeah.
at such a young age and like what the fuck do I do
Yeah.
now?
What's next?
Yeah.
What's the next role?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about like Chicago Bulls,
Mhm.
like three-peat. Like how do you like you've done it once and then you do it again and you're
Right.
like, we're doing this again. Like
Yeah.
at that point it's like,
okay.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and that in and of itself is a giant achievement. Like
Mhm.
it's not like you won a championship in baseball and you're like, let's do one in basketball. And you're like,
Right.
cool, what's next? We'll do football. No,
Right.
it's the same sport. Like the fundamentals stay the same,
Mhm.
but
Things change,
Yeah.
but for the most,
Yeah.
like, yes, I do wonder what drives somebody
Yeah.
after the third time to go,
Mhm.
hey, let's do it again.
Yeah, wow.
Anybody?
Yeah.
No, okay.
Like we're good.
Yeah. But I have not
Like
achieved world championship
well, yeah.
status yet
Yeah.
on too many things. So
Like these other ones, the things that used to inspire you don't anymore.
Mhm.
You start going through the motions.
Yeah.
You start making mistakes that aren't like you.
Mhm.
A bunch of distractions pop up.
Yep.
That definitely, yeah. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
keep doing the same thing. I don't know what else to do.
This-
And then you get a little careless.
Yep.
That happens in business a lot. I've been guilty of that. Like if we have a big success with a client, like we launch a nice project and get it done, and it's like awesome. The next one's usually kind of rocky.
Yeah.
And you wind up like we've gone and done some retrospectives. And we're like, well, we skipped several steps. That we did all the steps on this one and it went well. We
Mhm.
skipped a couple and it kind of bit us in the ass later.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did we change that up? Well, we got a little confident,
Mhm.
and it hurt.
Yeah.
So in that case, it's like, the level up didn't stick, which I think can happen.
Yeah.
Can you level up for just like a moment in time? Like it's not always permanent. You know what I mean?
Well,
I think you have to think about that too. Like I think about like UFC champions, like they'll win and then like the very next one they'll lose.
Yeah.
It's like it's not necessarily because everybody's better than you. It could also be that like maybe you didn't.
yeah, maybe the drive isn't there.
Yeah,
for
you
that
didn't hit
particular
that
thing,
next
yeah.
camp as hard as you hit that first one. You didn't have the. I think a good analogy is the second album. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
I mean, there's exceptions, but
Yeah.
like generally speaking, that first album, it's like really good.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wow, they're gonna make another album. You get it, and you're like, what?
Mm.
Huh?
Yeah.
Like it's less than the first one,
Yep.
But you think like they spent their whole life, their whole career writing that first album, getting it produced, getting it out there. And then the next one they did in like a year and a half.
Right.
It cannot be as good,
This is true.
you know.
Unless it's Taylor Swift, apparently.
Well, I mean, that says a lot though. If you hit it out of the park with that second one too, it's like, wow, that's you know, or maybe you just had enough saved up. It was really, you really made two and you just let half of it out.
Yes. How she releases music is amazing, but yeah, I don't get it. But yeah, no, and I think that that's why in rare instances, something like Taylor Swift, something in my world like Foo Fighters, who are in London at the same weekend. Oh,
okay.
Yeah, that I'm there. You know, bands, artists, you know, ones that you know about and you know, have a following for one reason or another over time. It's because they've leveled up and then they've gone, all right, I may not know what's next, but I know them going after it. Yeah. And so a second album, know, it's pretty damn good too. Yeah. I think of you know, actually, what was it? Imagine Dragons.
Okay. I'm not too familiar, but
I know. Their first album came out, and I think it's 2000 and I don't know, 15 or something. Like one song came out that I remember. I'm like, oh, okay,
they were huge. Yeah,
it's cool. But then when their second one came out, and then you know, I took my son and his friends to go see them while they were here. Like each album that came out, there was at least one song that I was like, oh yeah, you got me. You got me again. I'm like, yeah, I will, you know, I will work out to that song.
Right, sure.
For me, it's that, you know, like I will bring that into my daily routine.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not all the, you know, but it's and that's like, you know, a younger band, I would say. But like there's something that just resonates and you're like, you did it. You figured out how to do it differently, but you did it again. Yeah. And you know, and that's, you know, that's why I think that we value people and companies and bands and athletes that, you know, do continue to level up and then they push forward. And so I'm actually, I think I'm wrong with saying that I leveled up. I technically leveled up by age, but I have.
Is that a level? Is just age wise getting older? That seems like a level down. Like it's like a fulcrum, right? So like you're up maybe like 30, and then it starts to like level down.
I don't know, man. That's why I say that. Like I feel better than I did in my 30s.
You're saying physically,
physically, yeah. But I
mean, there's no way you're physically more resilient than you were when you were 30.
No, I'm not more resilient, but I'm stronger.
Sure, you got the old man strength thing going on.
Yeah,
it's like you're aged. It's like aged beef. It does taste better, but you know,
I don't know where we're going anymore.
I'm just saying,
but what I'm saying is like the things that are in this article, like when I say that I'm pushing for whatever is next, like, you know, my world hasn't fallen apart at 50.
Right. That's awesome.
Is what I'm getting to. So
a lot of people do.
Yeah, that's called.
Have you had a
midlife crisis?
Man, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to ask you if you've had a midlife crisis moment. Have you had a moment that other people have told you is your midlife crisis moment?
No, except for my kids, probably, but they don't. That doesn't count.
They don't know what it means.
They don't know what it means.
They're not.
Yeah, they're like,
unless they're over 25, they don't know shit yet.
Yeah.
No offense, they're over 25. The demographics of the show are not to 25-year-olds.
Okay. Okay. Good.
We're good.
But you know, I think I used to joke when I was around 25. I'd joke around. Oh my God, I'm having a midlife crisis. You know, that means I'm going to die at 50. Okay.
I mean, I think about it. I don't know that I've had like a midlife crisis, but I've definitely had more than a few moments where I've like changed who I am or what I did drastically.
Good or bad?
I look in some good, some just like, you know, mid, like just, it's just a different thing.
Yeah.
You know, but like I look at, you know, it's like careers, you know, I've sort of kind of maintained the same one, but
Mhm.
kind of not. Like
Yeah.
it's very different, you know.
Yeah.
I've gone through different phases. Um, am I necessarily in a different place than I was when I was 25? I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't know. I think mentally I am, and I know
Mhm.
physically definitely.
Yeah.
You know, I have deeper relationships. I have, you know, I've had more interesting, I think, quality experiences. You
Mhm.
know, um, connected with people on a deeper level as I've sort of progressed. So I would say I have, but it's a fascinating thing to think back and look at, you know, that midlife crisis sort of concept, because
Mhm.
I do know I've seen it in people where it's like, I mean, I don't know your intimate life, but like from my perspective, it's like you got divorced, you know, you got a tattoo, you bought a motorcycle,
Mhm.
and you don't see your kids anymore.
Mhm.
And that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you kind of did all the stuff.
Right.
And I know people like that. I know you do
Yeah.
too, but
Same.
like it's just really odd,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I think too, like, so some of those people may have been, I don't want to say living a lie, but they were doing the things that think that they were supposed to do
Oh man, yeah.
until,
Dude,
they finally just said, "Fuck
this
this.
is not
This is
me.
not
Yeah.
me." And,
Yeah.
and actually, like, you know, there I think that there are some cases that, like, I totally get that.
Yeah,
You and I both have a friend
for
that
sure.
that we know that happened, and it's like, okay, well, did it disrupt a lot of things in that person's life? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that person has figured out, with the people around that person as
Yeah.
well,
Right.
how to deal with that,
Yeah.
and maybe become better because of it, because you've let
Yeah.
go of that.
Yeah.
There's the other side of that,
Find this while you're talking.
that people that we also know too, that, like, you're right, did all of those things, all the markers, and said, peace out to
Peace out.
to the people that we're counting on them. And I think that that's your midlife crisis versus kind of more of an awakening of who you
Yeah.
really are. One's more of a fuck this, I'm done. The other one is like, okay, I I gotta be me. I don't know.
I wanted to, so I just thought of this. There's this guy that I found on Facebook. He's another martial artist, black belt, older guy.
Mhm.
I posted this to my students. I thought it was really cool. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's kind of long, but
Yeah.
he's literally talking about leveling up
Mhm.
through the lens of becoming a black belt.
Mhm.
Right. And you know enough.
Yeah.
The way we do things. But some are just scared of the responsibility of being good. He's talking about people who don't level up, who don't
Okay.
make it, right?
Okay.
Some are scared of their spouses and family who don't want a stronger version of them.
Mhm.
Some are just so weak-willed that they don't have it in them. Most people blame the instructor or family or work commitments or the relationship with other students, or that the boss, their spouse, won't let them, or nagging injuries or illness. This is the part that got me. Not realizing that overcoming those things is what makes you a black belt.
Mm.
It's interesting. We can look at it in terms of these things are holding me down, or these things are my path to leveling up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I told my student, I just tested my first student for black belt in March, and a whole year prior.
Yeah.
Like, because we've talked. You've seen me
Mhm.
fret and be anxious and go through my first degree and stuff. I sat him down like a whole year prior, and I said, you have to get your family on your side. Like, they don't have to love what you do,
Mhm.
but you have to get them in the boat with you,
Right.
so that they know what you're doing,
Right. And why?
and why you want to do it,
Yeah.
and it's so that they won't become a hindrance. And
Mhm.
he struggled with that.
Mhm.
And I said, you still have a good amount of work to do physically to get in the shape you need to be in for, a 72-hour crucible. And I said, you can look at it as a series of walls that's in your way, or you can look at it as a series of things that can make you a better person. And it's probably saying the same thing, but like you can look at this in two ways. You can look at it in like, this is a giant hill I have to climb, or these are the things I'm doing to make me a better person.
Yeah.
And you can look at it as a gift or a giant problem to solve.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably both, but I was, now that I've read that, I'm just going to send people this poem because they said it way more eloquently than I did. But like looking at I think one way of leveling up, and I feel positive in this, and I know you have because we talked about it. I think that like looking at things in your life that a younger you might wig out over, you know, you might just fall apart over, but looking at those things in life as like, well, once I make it through this, you know, I will have more skills, I'll be more resilient, I'll be tougher, I'll have figured some shit out, I'll make more money, whatever it is, or I've got to have this hard conversation. But when I get done with it, it's going to be kind of smooth. Yep. It doesn't mean the thing's not hard. It just means you can kind of see the results that can happen if you just do it. I think that in and of itself is like leveling up. You know, I can't speak for, like, I have a lot of friends who've gotten divorced and stuff like that. I can't speak for like a relationship situation like that, but I imagine it's probably pretty similar. You know what I mean? Like shit's just not working out. Right. You know, something I want to put off and not deal with or whatever. And then hence you sort of like have this big fallout, midlife crisis, the particular male midlife crisis, you know?
Yeah. And you just give up.
Yeah, I think so.
And you know, I assume that you give up, you know, and fair or unfair, I really don't care.
Yeah, like, it's not. No, we're not here to.
It's
not a man versus woman thing or a you know, spouse versus spouse thing. It's just like a.
But when you give up, I mean, you've got a reason for giving up.
Yeah.
But you know, but okay, sometimes you have to cut bait.
Yes.
Because it's not worth it, and and it's not going to work. But you know, like it also means that, you know, one of a million things happened, but at least one of them was like you didn't take it as seriously as you should have, and that other person didn't take it as seriously as they should have. And you know, and there are, you know, definitely two.
And that's not just like interpersonal relationships. That's like
that's
business. I mean, it's the same shit, but like business arrangements. I mean, you can be working for a couple of years with the same person, maybe it's your business partner or whatever, and you're like, this just is like, we're just not on the same conceptual like existence here. Like that can happen.
Right. Well, it's, have I told you this before? Like,
and you can diverge. Like,
yes,
the other person can kind of leave you in the dust too,
because they're growing their direction as well. I've always said that the things that draw you to a person in the first place are usually the things that repel you from them later on.
It's, you know, it's probably not far off.
Yeah. And you know, and the thing is like,
as they get amplified over time.
And you know, if that amplification doesn't drive you away, or doesn't drive you crazy, then things are probably going to work out, whether it's business or, you know, spouse or things like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I tell you, you know, I work with Greg, my business partner here at the web development company. And, you know, I've always said like, it works really well because we're very different people.
Yeah.
And I would say on paper, but like it's hard because we are very different. I mean, we argue a lot. Yeah. You know, but I think both of us are open enough to know that like, well, these arguments aren't personal. Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, it's about serving the business.
Right. They're to get to a goal.
Yeah. So it works. Yeah.
To do the best job you think possible.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you can make it work. I don't know how you translate that into a relationship, but because I'm not Dr. Phil here, you know, but although I'm not sure he's a doctor anymore, but it doesn't matter. It's my ADHD brain. Well, man, I know you got to go. I appreciate you going through the level up exercise.
Yeah. I thank you. I'd like to expand upon it another time, and maybe like there's something Nike Run Club. I think I've talked to you a little bit about.
Yeah, you like their app.
I like really Coach Chris Bennett, who's like the Nike global running coach or something. And he has podcasts now that I just found. I'm like, oh, and it's like, it's I think I've told you, like, he sounds like Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
But at the same time, like he's fun, witty, and but also like when you would like him, especially because when he talks about like bad coaches and like he's a very positive person, but when he gets to like, when I see a coach that's just demonstrative and things like that, like he starts to go off on them.
Oh man,
in a way.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, in a way that you're like, are you sure?
Are you okay?
Are you okay? But there's one run that I did like a long time ago, guided run, that it's not about like, put your foot in front of the other, but it was about breaking through barriers.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, a barrier isn't about the physical or mental thing that you actually pass through. It's about everything it takes to get to that point,
right,
and past it.
That's cool.
And I mean, that's what we're doing. That's what the leveling up, I think, is. And
for sure.
And so we work so hard to get through, these barriers, no matter what they are, physical, mental, emotional. And then we get to the end. And, the thing that keeps resonating with me from that article is that, like my whole world's falling apart.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's okay.
I think it is too.
And ultimately it's okay. It's like, if you feel like that, then there's something, I guess cathartic that has happened to you, that you've realized something that not very many people probably have gone through.
Yeah. I just did I've recorded it, hasn't posted yet. It probably won't post before this one, so it'll be after, so you can listen to it later. But Jocko's The Code, he has a section in one of his books where he's got like 10 or whatever points in the code. But it makes me think of that in a quote from all of that is sometimes you just have to go through the motions, but you need to just go through the motions. Is what he says. But what he's implying is that like maybe you've leveled up and you just are going through the motions and you feel like it, but you have to keep going through the motions because you just need to wait for the next level up. But you don't get there if you stop doing everything.
Yeah, that's true. That's
what he's saying. And I think that's, if you're working on this goal, like you're talking about, whatever that guy's name was, I just forgot it.
Coach Bennett.
Yep. You're working on this goal and doing all this work to get there. All the things you're doing every day to practice or to get more fit or whatever, all those little things, all those little habits you develop, and you get there, and then you get past it and you feel like, well, why do I still need to do this stuff?
Right. Yeah.
You still need to do this stuff.
Yeah. The things that made you successful
for level 2 that comes after it.
Right.
You still need those things.
You need to build on top of that. And that's the thing that it's, when you say that, can you level up momentarily and then fall back down?
I think you can, because you stop doing your shit.
Exactly. And then it sorry, I know the lights keeps changing. You stop doing what made you successful, and you're like, and when you said that, like we skipped some steps, like those steps were probably important.
They're very important.
Yeah.
In retrospect.
Yeah.
It's really dumb. We're cocky and we thought we could figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And
but no, they're there for a reason.
No, do them again, even though you're on the the three-peat championship.
You still
sorry.
gotta,
like you don't get to the third championship.
That's why that's so impressive when somebody does that.
Yeah.
It's just like, damn, you really sticking to your discipline.
Yeah.
And that's impressive.
Yeah.
I think that's what everybody's like innately responding to.
Right.
Their lack of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
there's lessons there.
No, and I think too, like maybe one of the last examples is from a realm that we're not totally in, but think about if I asked you, and I know that you're not totally into this, but if I asked you who's the greatest gymnast in the world right now?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I wouldn't know who to say.
okay. So let's
I
say
mean, Simone Biles.
there you go.
I mean, that's
the name that comes up, right? If I said
right,
yeah,
because she's on Good Morning America for like a year in a row.
Right.
Sure.
why is she trying to get to the Olympics again when, like now,
Yeah.
now 4 years ago she had issues, withdrew or whatever.
Right. Sure.
But, like everybody knows that she's literally
The best.
greatest
Right.
who's ever done this. And if you want to fight me on that, I'm ready.
No, I don't want to fight you on that.
No, not you, but other that one dude. But like why does she continue to push forward at an age that used to be considered like old in gymnastics?
Sure.
Why is she continuing to go further? Is it really about money? No.
It's legacy at this point, probably.
Yeah. And but if you watch and see what she does, like, and I know this from my own gymnast, like, who's at the gym right now, and I've got to go meet her pretty soon, but she's finishing up. Like, she has to do the same things every single day.
Right.
Now, once she's able to, safely do this front flip, then guess what? The next day, she may not be able to do it.
Sure.
Right. You haven't leveled up.
Right.
You have to get consistent. Once you get consistent, that's when you really leveled up. And then, what's the next level of that? Well, it's 2, front flips in a row and then, flying up into the air. And propelling yourself through athletics, through business, through, spiritual, whatever makes it for you. Like continue to do the things that got you to this point. And then if you get to that level and you don't know what to do, I think you're right.
You keep going through
the motions so that you can get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm still here. I didn't, you do a tournament. Is that, I'm done.
Yeah. I think
you look for the next one.
And if you're paying attention and you're like, I'm just kind of going through the motions here. Maybe pay attention to that cue and like do some retrospective thinking, or journaling or whatever it is, maybe you just hurdled something, I mean, it's cool to, you don't live in the past, but it's cool to like take notes.
Yeah.
It's kind of important.
Yeah. And then you can learn from it and get better.
Hopefully. Or, you could be on your 3rd or 4th wife. Like a friend of mine is.
I
bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, huh?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Well,
You're still trying.
Well, this time's going to stick. And you know what?
Or you'll just die while you're still married.
Bless their heart. I hope it sticks.
For real.